Hi, my name's Jamie Williams, and we're here today to talk about the automotive industry. Certainly everybody's heard a lot in the media about just different dealerships and franchises changing the ways that they are being operated in the area, and cancellations and so forth. So we wanted to give you some more information about that today, and I have Tom Casto here from Premier Pontiac GMC. He's the general manager. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Jamie.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice seeing you.
Good. We just want to talk a little bit. I mean, like I said, certainly everybody's heard a lot in the media about dealerships closing and franchises canceling agreements. You know, what are your thoughts on that? And just maybe give us some of your thoughts on how you see that affecting you and your business.
Well, in you know, there are a lot of Chrysler dealerships that have been canceled, and with the GM side, a lot of letters went out last week in regards to dealerships throughout the country. These letters were not really letters of cancellation as far as GM was concerned, versus they were letters that those dealers would unlikely have their franchises renewed when they come up. And these franchises will not be, they have until October of 2010 to either wind down their businesses or, in a sense, appeal their unlikeliness of not being renewed. Unlike Chrysler's, those people were canceled. General Motors at this point, these folks were given it would unlikely be renewed.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
At this moment.
Yeah. So that had to be, you know, just unsettling and just you know.
It's very unsettling. I mean, there was a lot of sleepless nights for GM and Chrysler dealerships throughout the country last week.
What was the criteria from you know, the franchises on who would stay, who would go?
Well, with GM, GM has said for years that there's just too many dealers throughout the country. General Motors looked at a number of things. Number one was facilities. General Motors has been for years making sure the dealers upgrade their facilities, have newer facilities, or whatever the case may be. They wanted, especially if there's going to be less dealers, they wanted easy access for the consumer to get to a dealership. They prefer highway accesses and things like that. Dealers' effectiveness, their past effectiveness in the marketplace, were they selling their brands properly in their marketplace? Their customer satisfaction index. General Motors, as well as all the manufacturers, have CSI ratings, and General Motors expect those
standards to be maintained.
Exactly. And they looked at that. They looked at how well they're capitalized. Can they withstand these times? Can they, you know, are they properly capitalized? Have they been profitable? So a number of those items went into determining who's here and who isn't, as well as the concentration. A lot of metro markets have a concentration of a lot of dealers that don't necessarily need or want anymore.
Right. I mean, GM has 6,200 dealerships.
Correct.
And they wanted to reduce to 3,600. So.
And that's a good point, and it sounds like it's a drastic amount. This 6,200 dealerships was as of like December.
Right.
Unfortunately, for many, there were hundreds and hundreds of that already, unfortunately, due to the economy, have gone out of business. Which has already reduced that number.
Right.
There is hundreds of dealerships, quite frankly, throughout the country that sell less than 50 new cars a year. Those would be affected, and we would reduce that number. You have the Saturn, Saab, and Hummer situation going on. There's approximately 500 dealers involved in that, reducing that 2,600. So when it got down to it, there's about 1,200 dealers that were targeted concerned dealers, yes.
Okay.
And and there'll be probably some fallout anyhow
Exactly.
with some of those franchises as it is.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What are your feelings about seeing Pontiac phased out?
Well, we have Pontiac and GMC, and
Right.
Pontiac has been a part of General Motors forever.
Exactly.
I mean, it's been the exciting part of General Motors, and back with the GTO, and now with the current Pontiac Vibes and the new G8 is just a phenomenal car, and it's sad.
Right.
It's sad to see it go, not only for us, but for the consumer. I mean, it's been a great part, but unfortunately, it's not going to be a part of General Motors anymore. As far as us is concerned, we sold about two GMC trucks to a Pontiac. So, yes, it'll affect us, but not that much.
Okay.
And we can make it up on the GM side anyhow.
Good.
And the GMC side will end up getting a few more products
Okay.
as it is.
Very
Yes.
good. Well, today we're here with Tom Casto, the General Manager of Premier Pontiac, and we would encourage you to forward any questions to Tom at tcasto@premierpontiac.com for future, and he'll try to answer those questions for you and see if related to either Pontiac or GMC or other auto-related industry questions. He'd be more than happy to answer those for us. So, but going right back into about Pontiac and the phasing out of that, what do you think will happen to the value of Pontiacs as a result?
Well, that's always a concern. That was a concern, and back when Oldsmobile went out years ago, people felt that Oldsmobile values had decreased dramatically. And back then, I was at the auctions 3 days a week, and I saw the Oldsmobile values never decrease. As a matter of fact, back then, the government had bought literally hundreds of thousands of these Oldsmobiles for their own vehicle use, and when they liquidated those vehicles, the cars brought very good money. And we have a slide here I can show you as far as what the values, comparatively speaking, with Oldsmobile, where they really never really did decrease.
Okay.
I had and this is right from NADA guides this past month, but if you took last year of the Oldsmobile Intrigue was 2002, and as you can see from the slide, NADA clean trade-in value was $5,075. Compare that to the comparable Grand Prix, Malibu. Actually, it's the same or higher, and when you compare it to the Buick, the Ford Taurus, and Concord, it's higher all the way around. So in that particular car, it never really decreased. And the same thing with the 04 Olds-Alero. Its value of $5,150 is a couple $100 less than the Pontiac Grand Am, its counterpart, but higher than in the other categories. So Oldsmobile values never really decrease, and if history stays, I can see Pontiac's values should maintain.
Good.
And there have been years, over the years, models have come and gone, but they still have value.
Exactly.
And those models didn't really, their values didn't decrease tremendously due to the fact that they were no longer being made. So there's always been changes in models throughout the year. And in the auto industry. So I really don't see where that will be that big of an issue.
And certainly if a customer has a Pontiac or is going to purchase a Pontiac, I mean, servicing down the road might be a question or a concern for them, and you're certainly still going to have that ability to maintain that part of the business.
Oh, absolutely.
For them.
I mean, over the years, with parts, service, a lot of things have been interchangeable with the various models with the Chevrolet or the Buick or whatever the case may be. So service will never be an issue. Just like it's not an issue right now with Oldsmobile. I mean, we as well as anybody else can service Oldsmobiles. We can still get parts, and that will be the same situation